All right, we've got some breaking news coming in at this moment. The first video of gangster Chhota Rajan being interrogated and arrested in Bali on Sunday. Just look at these pictures. That is the gangster for you. Chhota Rajan being taken into police custody. India today has been able to get this footage of Chhota Rajan being taken into custody. He is presently in this footage. You can see that he is being taken into a confined cell where the interrogation will presently go on. This video was taken, the first video of Chhota Rajan, apart from that still picture which is being circulated. Dates back to Sunday. You can see that Chhota Rajan in an orange suit, an orange jumpsuit, is now being taken for interrogation. Let's see if we have Atir Khan at this moment, who actually got us this video. Atir, we'll try going to across to Atir in just a short moment from now, but that's the gangster for you. There are many theories doing the rounds whether his control over the underworld, his control over the entire act that he used to carry out, he's actually fallen from favor, and that is why it would have been easy for the agencies to nab him. How much information does he actually have? India is very hopeful that he perhaps might have some information on Dawood Ibrahim, but there is a section which also feels that for a very long time Dawood and Chhota Rajan have fallen from favor, and that is why there will be very little information that Chhota Rajan will be able to provide on the next big prized catch as far as India is concerned, that is Dawood Ibrahim. It is expected that Chhota Rajan in the next 1 week or so is going to be deported to India. Either deported or Indian agencies will seek his custody and bring him back to India. There are many agencies, multiple agencies that want to interrogate him, question him for his involvement in various criminal incidents and also terrorist incidents as well. Let's go across to Atir Khan, who joins us on the phone line. Atir, these pictures, as you have informed us in the news feed, says that these pictures are from Sunday, is it? Can you tell us what exactly is happening?
No, Satya, these are the recent visuals which we are seeing. He is at Chhota Bali police establishment, which is a high security zone where Chhota Rajan has been kept under a close watch. And in fact, he is in lockup here. This is the place where all the senior officers sit. So, he was for medical examination, and thereafter, he has been brought back to the lockup. So the visuals which we are watching are the visuals when he was taken from the Chhota Bali police establishment and has brought back.
Atir, there seems to be some problem in your telephone connection. I'll ask that question once again. If you could elaborate for our viewers, when were these pictures taken? Where is Chhota Rajan at this moment? And where is this interrogation going on?
Well, Sanket, he has been taken at Chhota Bali. Chhota Bali is a place which is a high security police establishment in Bali, where all the senior police officers, their offices. It is in the premises of Chhota Bali that Chhota Rajan has been kept under a very tight security cover. Perhaps he's been informed by the Indian agencies that he has threats from rival underworld gangs, including D Company, and that is why all the precautions are being taken. But he has to move out for the formalities for the medical examination, which is being done by the Chhota Bali police, of course, here.
Atir, what sort of interrogation will be done by the Indonesian police at this moment where Chhota Rajan is? What information are they trying to gather?
Well, Sanket, what we are getting to know from our sources is that he has been questioned. He has been questioned regarding his presence in though Australian agencies had flagged up his presence here. As per them, he had come here on a 15-day holiday. However, the Bali police wants to know, they have asked him several questions regarding his presence and whether he is any person here. However, officially they are denying. They are saying they have no interest in interrogating him since he is not wanted in any crime in Bali. All the cases pertain to foreign countries, and the crime has been indulged in India. They are not. They have no obligation to quiz him on that. So that's That's what the official stand here is.
Atir, just a short while back, you were in fact reporting that you have spoken to the members of the Indonesian police. Can you tell us a little in detail as to what they are saying about Mr. Chhota Rajan?
Well, they have done a thorough job, Sanket, as far as the execution of red corner notice is concerned. They have acted quite swiftly as soon as they got a tip-off from Canberra that, Chhota Rajan is wanted and he should be detained at the airport. After receiving that information, the intelligence wing acted very swiftly and had detained him at the airport. They brought him to another establishment. From there, he's now been shifted to a highly secure place, which is Bali.
Atir, can you describe these pictures to us? It's hard to believe that this is India's most wanted gangster. If you look at these pictures, he's hiding behind a police official, trying to hide his face. Hard to believe that he carried out and he's wanted for so many crimes in this country and also a terrorist act.
Well, that's very interesting point which you raised, Sanket. And yesterday also the police officer who first acted and had detained him at the airport told us that Chhota Rajan has revealed he is a lonely man. So that is what Chhota Rajan has told Bali police, that he's lonely. His father, his mother and wife are dead now. So he is traveling wherever he wants to go. But clearly, as the visuals show that he's camera shy. It's been a long time since he has interacted with media. But this time around, clearly, it appears he wants to stay away from the media attention. And, and also he told the police officers here that he wants to go to Zimbabwe and not India. He's not interested in going back to India because he feels, there could be threat to him from the rivalry gang.
Well, Atir, not that he will have much of a choice at this moment to decide where he wants to go and not want to go. Just take us through how the Indian agencies are planning to get him to India.
Well, the process has already begun, and CPI, which is the nodal agency for Interpol in India, we are learning from the sources, have initiated the process. But Sanket, it's quite a lengthy process because it needs a voluminous documentation. It involves putting together all the FIRs, all the police records, all the court records regarding Chhota Rajan's alleged involvement in the cases, and which have to be sent to Bali, Indonesia, Jakarta, and thereafter, the process is executed. So at the moment, they are trying to put together all the documentation so that there are no hiccups when at the time of deportation.
Now, these are a fresh set of pictures, images that we are in fact showing our viewers at this moment, where Chhota Rajan is inside that interrogation room. There are two police officials of the Indonesian police. Then one is holding him from behind, and he moves away, closes the door. The other police official takes him close to an almirah and then eventually moves him towards the railing. And Chhota Rajan is trying to haggle or negotiate something with the, we can see in these pictures, trying to negotiate with the cops as they're completely not interested. So the cop then moves him towards that railing, towards that iron metal rod wall. He's still he continues to negotiate. Wonder what he's actually talking about. India Today's managing editor, Vinay Tiwari, is now on the phone line with us. Morning, Vinay. These pictures, the question that I was actually asking Atir just a short while back, these pictures show a gangster who at this moment appears completely out of that old might and power that he must be wielding at one point. At this moment, trying to hide his face, negotiate with the cops. Just take us through what exactly one can expect legally as far as India is concerned from here on with Chhota Rajan.
Yes, I mean, that's a good question, Sanket, but there is one other thing that I'm a bit intrigued by again. I mean, this whole development of Chhota Rajan's arrest in Bali is something that is intriguing personally to me virtually every time some new information comes in. I mean, the first picture, if you remember, Sanket, that came out of that place was of a very happy-looking guy who was arrested, frankly. I mean, the way you saw a picture of him with a police officer virtually posing for the camera didn't certainly have been arrested and nabbed and taken by surprise. I'm now a little intrigued by this surfacing of this new video where he appears to be a very, kind of a proper prisoner in those kind of clothes and, looking as you pointed out rightly, negotiating with the police officers. What I'm not sure of is when was this video taken? Was this before that original picture that came out or after that?
No, so that you know, Atir has in fact told us that this is a very recent picture. This is after his arrest when he has been taken for interrogation. So it's as recent as maybe yesterday. But certainly that photograph was the first impression that we had of the arrest. So this is after that photograph.
Yes, and it also tells you that Indonesia works a lot like India. I mean, this is exactly how it works here in many ways. And perhaps one of the reasons why this arrest or the surrender or whatever theory that's being attached to it happened in a country like Indonesia and not in Australia as one would have imagined because he was living there. Anyway, coming to the original question, Sanket, on paper, the India and Indonesia do not have an extradition treaty. So the concept of the country extraditing him to India won't exist. Having said that, there have been enough instances between two countries where even in the absence of an extradition treaty, countries have agreed to deport a person wanted by law, especially in a case where government-to-government cooperation has already happened and phones have been worked upon. We are being told that the Indian government has already, in fact, discussed this issue with the Indonesian government and that the paperwork to get him back into India, deported back to India, should happen. It shouldn't really be a big problem. So we are being told that there should not be a huge legal hitch unless, of course, the government at the last minute turns not so friendly in terms of handing him over to India. But the fact is that even though there is no formal extradition treaty on paper, we can still expect him to come back because the government of Indonesia will just probably agree to deport him to India, Sanket.
Absolutely, and it seems to be a complicated process, isn't it, Vinay, to get him, for want of an extradition treaty between these two countries, to actually carry out that legal process and get him back in India, because obviously there will be a lot of expectation here in the Indian investigating agencies to get a lot of information from Chhota Rajan, particularly about Dawood Ibrahim maybe.
Sanket, the answer to this question is a yes and a no. No to the fact that if the Indian Foreign Office has already, as we are being told, established contact with the Indonesian government and there is some level of cooperation that has already happened, it's not going to be so complicated to get him here because the government of that country will really have to just agree to deport him, put him on a plane, hand him over to the officers of Indian establishment and bring him here. So I'm not sure if there will be too many hitches if there is already a government-to-government contact. On the second part of your question, that's the one area which I personally, and this is something that I have no evidence for as of now, but from all our years of having covered Chhota Rajan and all the other activities around him and all the other underworld activities, I can tell you that if the Indian establishment is looking to quote-unquote get information out of Chhota Rajan from Dawood, or if this is the stand they're taking, it needs to be taken with a huge truckload of salt. The fact is, Chhota Rajan for years has been a supplier of information to the Indian intelligence establishment on Dawood Ibrahim. Not only that, but the Indian intelligence has been actively helping him in trying to get at Dawood Ibrahim. It's not succeeded because his firepower and his his reach within Pakistan and in other parts of the country has now become severely limited. In comparison, Dawood was far more powerful than Chhota Rajan for all those years. So the intelligence agencies have milked Chhota Rajan for information ad nauseum in the last 20 years or so. If anything, Chhota Rajan is frankly now very useless for them for information purposes. If you are looking to get him jailed for the crimes that he has committed, most of the cases, the last case that he has against him, where he has been named in an FIR, is the J-Day murder case, which again remains only a name in an FIR. You really don't have much substantive evidence to prosecute him on J-Day murder, except for some statements that have been made by the police in terms of having interrogated a few people. Besides that, all the other cases are of mid-90s and the late 90s. I'm not sure how many of those cases you'll be able to prove in a court of law when you're trying to hold him to trial. So this whole concept of using Chhota Rajan for information on Dawood is a little flimsy, and however much the establishment may try and suggest that this is going to be very valuable asset, it's highly unlikely he will be, Sanket.
Okay. Vinay, do stay on with us. Let's go to Bali, where India Today's Atir Khan is joining us. He's got us these exclusive pictures. Atir, we have in fact been reading in various news reports that Chhota Rajan has been quoted as saying a number of things. He's in fact talking about not going to India. He says that it should be taken to Zimbabwe instead. Can you just throw some more light and perhaps clarify what exactly is he haggling at this moment?
Well, you see, it has to do with the dynamics of underworld. He has a D company as his arch rival, which have been constantly targeting him. And if you recall, he had miraculously almost escaped a bid on his life, carried out by his D company. So he himself was a very big underworld don. In fact, he was running the gang shoulder, neck and neck with Dawood Ibrahim. But it was only after 1995 that they were little apart. However, we know that his underworld activities were continuous. He did not give up the world of crime because that was a compulsion. So therefore, he was looking for a safe haven. Perhaps Zimbabwe is the place which he identified, and he settled here for years, because the investigating officer who had arrested, who had detained him at the airport, told us that he had been staying in Zimbabwe for last few years. So it is possible that he had made his new base in Zimbabwe, but it needs to be verified, because the officer was saying that he cannot believe everything he was saying. He has to take the pinch of salt. However, it is an interesting insight as to a new place called Zimbabwe has come into light as far as underworld operations are concerned. We have learned about underworld operations which are moving towards African countries. So in that perspective, this is really something interesting which all the agencies would like to know from him.
Okay, Atif, do stay on with us. Vinay, just for perspective, for viewers who might not have known about perhaps the underworld power that Chhota Rajan used to wield, how powerful was he in the past 2 decades?
Sanket, he in fact very powerful. Chhota Rajan really came into prominence. He was actually a member of another gang whose leader was called Bada Rajan. And only after Bada Rajan was killed in a court that he became the leader of the gang and was started getting called Chhota Rajan. All of this happened in the late 80s. And then he joined Dawood Ibrahim's gang, D Company, and rose very quickly. In fact, he became one of the closest confidants of Dawood Ibrahim. There are pictures of Dawood Ibrahim having attended Chhota Rajan's wedding. So he was that close in that sense to Chhota Rajan. And he rose very quickly. 2 things happened. When in underworld, when people rise very quickly through the ranks, they also leave behind some amount of envy amongst the other gang members, because there are more than one people trying to vie and become closer. Especially, remember, Dawood's brothers were not very happy and comfortable with the idea of another Don rising up the ranks, and Dawood trusting him a lot. Everything changed in 1993 when the Mumbai serial blast happened. That's the time when Chhota Rajan broke away from Dawood on the grounds of being a patriotic Don. And this patriotic versus an enemy Don concept came in 1993. And that's where the dramatic change in the Mumbai's underworld really started. Because after 1993, remember, Dawood had fled India. He'd gone to Dubai, and he wasn't living here. The patriotic angle changed the dynamics to the extent that the Indian intelligence establishment realized that here was a chance to get information from someone who had now turned enemies of another individual who was one of the most wanted for them. Chhota Rajan at that point in time was very powerful. In fact, he had a very good quality gang with him who was able to match fire for fire. And if you remember, Sanket, all through the mid-90s, there was an intense gang war that carried out in Bombay. I mean, virtually every day you would hear of shootouts in the city. And that was the result of this bitter rivalry between the two, because they never really pardoned each other for that. Dawood took this very personally and never really was able to pardon Chhota Rajan. And since then, they have been trying to make several attempts to get at him, kill him. Dawood's superior firepower, frankly, was able to decimate his gang to a large extent, and Chhota Rajan's firepower, reduced dramatically over the years. The other thing that happened was that Dawood also had a fairly good number of informers within the Mumbai police through the 90s. There have been cases where junior police officers have been suspended in the Mumbai police through the 90s for passing on information, and that information actually also crippled Chhota Rajan's gang to a large extent. And that's the kind of history with which Chhota Rajan was, has been moving around all over the world. One more instance, Sanket, which I would want the viewers to recall, was the escape of Chhota Rajan from a hospital in Bangkok. He had sustained about 7 to 8 or 10 bullet injuries, if I remember correctly. Was in a hospital with some 12 armed commandos of the Thailand police guarding him, and yet what was made to believe was that he was able to escape using bed sheets from the second floor of a hospital. You know and I know that somebody who sustained 10 to 12 bullet injuries can't slide down 3 bed sheets from a hospital surrounded by 12 commandos. The fact of the matter is that that particular escape was facilitated by the Indian establishment, by the Indian intelligence agencies, because they saw that as an opportunity to completely take him on board. Since then, Chhota Rajan has been moored off the island in Australia and then started living within Australia and has been known to have been there. So the fact that this information is new is not true. His whereabouts in Australia were pretty well known. And that's where the information supply from the underworld came in for the Indian intelligence. But again, over the years, because his gang has been severely now reduced and he's become unwell. Remember, he's lost his parents. He lost his mother just about a few months back. He's lost his wife and his father earlier. He suffers from a serious kidney ailment and he's not keeping too well. He's just 55, but he doesn't keep too well. Has, I think, further led to a situation where he feels extremely threatened for his life, especially in Australia. Sanket.
Okay. Thanks very much. Vinay Tiwari, Managing Editor, India Today, giving us a complete brief of what Chhota Rajan actually was and what he has actually come down to being at this moment. Maybe, perhaps a little bit useless as far as investigating agencies are concerned in terms of providing information. Fallen from grace, fallen from favor. In fact, India Today's Atir Khan spoke exclusively to spokesperson of the Indonesian police. He said that it depends on the CBI to decide whether they will pick Chhota Rajan up in Bali or will it ask Indonesian police to bring him to India. Let's listen in to that exclusive interview.
We have with us Mr. Harry Vianto, who is the spokesperson of Bali Police. Let's have a word with him. Sir, Chhota Rajan, as he is known in India, is in your custody since Sunday. So, can you share with us what he's been telling you and about what he was doing in Bali?
Iya, jadi saya kira seperti penjelasan saya dari awal bahwa kita mendapatkan informasi bahwa adanya pelaku dugaan pembunuhan di otak pembunuhan di India berdasarkan red notice dari Interpol. Jadi awalnya adalah info dari Interpol di Canberra yang menyampaikan kepada Interpol Indonesia. Karena Interpol Indonesia itu di bawah Divisi Upinter, oleh sebab itu Divisi Upinter Mabes Polri menyampaikan, yang meminta bantuan kepada Dirjen Imigrasi yang ada di Denpasar, ya, itu untuk melakukan penangkapan atau mengamankan terhadap yang ada di dalam paspor nomor yang sudah disebutkan. Setelah kita lakukan penangkapan bahwa namanya antara nama yang ada di red notice dengan nama yang ada dalam paspor itu memang berbeda. Yeah.
Sir, there is this theory that he had some business interest in Indonesia, maybe in Bali. Are you exploring that? Are you looking into that angle?
Memang kita tidak melakukan interogasi terhadap yang bersangkutan terkait kepentingan untuk ke Indonesia. Tetapi yang jelas bahwa di dalam visa yang rencananya akan berkunjung di Indonesia ini selama 15 hari. Ya, selama 15 hari akan berkunjung di Indonesia. Itu penyampaian dari Australia.
Sir, what is he saying? Does he wants to go back to India, or what is he saying to you? What is his preference? Being a prisoner, though he's a prisoner, but what is he sharing with you?
Jadi begini, kepolisian Indonesia khususnya di Polda Bali ini hanya diminta bantuan untuk melakukan penangkapan terhadap yang bersangkutan. Jadi kepolisian Bali ini tidak pernah melakukan interogasi terhadap kasus yang dilakukan oleh Rajendra, Radasip, Nikalji ini tidak pernah melakukan interogasi terhadap itu. Karena memang kita juga cuma diminta untuk melakukan penangkapan tersebut. Ya, tetapi kita memang mempunyai kewajiban untuk mengecek apakah betul identitas dari yang bersangkutan ini. Jangan sampai nanti orang yang kita tangkap adalah salah, bukan itu. Oleh sebab itu memang kita sudah melakukan cross check terhadap yang bersangkutan. Jadi kalau interogasi terhadap yang bersangkutan khususnya mengenai kegiatan dan sebagainya, apalagi tentang kasus yang ada di India, kita tidak pernah melakukan interogasi atau pemeriksaan terhadap yang bersangkutan tentang kasus itu. Ya.
Sir, what did he tell you about his recent activities?
Ya, jadi saya ulangi bahwa kita di Bali ini baru datang, ya, dari penerbangan dari Sydney itu jam 10. Kemudian tiba di Bali itu jam 13.15. Ya, jadi untuk kegiatan di Bali kita tidak tahu ya mau melakukan kegiatan apa. Tetapi yang jelas di Bali ini akan berkunjung 15 hari.
Sir, you have a rule here that within 20 days after person is arrested, he has to be deported to the country where the request has come from. So far, what request have you got from CBI, Interpol, and have you also sent any queries to them?
Jadi begini, saya selalu akan menyampaikan tentang kegiatan yang kita lakukan. Ya, terus terang bahwa di Bali ini hanya diminta bantuan. Ya, di Bali ini Polda Bali hanya diminta bantuan untuk mengamankan karena memang ada red notice bahwa yang bersangkutan ada pelaku otak pembunuhan di India. Ya, itu pun karena memang ada surat penangkapan India tahun 94. Ya. Itu anunya. Tetapi intinya bahwa berapa lama nanti akan di Bali kita tidak tahu. Ya, mudah-mudahan secepatnya itu dijemput. Ya, mudah-mudahan secepatnya dari divisi Ubinter. Kalaupun tidak, nanti kita akan koordinasikan ke divisi Ubinter untuk supaya menjemput yang bersangkutan, karena yang berkaitan dengan kasus ini ya adalah Interpol dan divisi Ubinter. Kita tidak mengetahui proses untuk berikutnya.
Sir, have you sent any queries to India, some doubts you may be having regarding the execution of RC and Red Corner Notice?
Kepolisian Bali tidak ada hubungannya dengan kepolisian yang ada di India. Kita berhubungan dengan Interpol Indonesia atau Divisi Hubungan Internasional di Mabes Polri. Ya, kita tidak pernah berkoordinasi, kita tidak pernah menanyakan ke Interpol yang ada di India. Ya, karena memang hubungan atau kepolisian India, karena memang hubungan kita adalah hanya sebatas setelah kita lakukan penangkapan, kemudian kita laporkan kepada Divisi Hubinter Mabes Polri. Itu saja yang kita lakukan dan kita menunggu. Saat ini kita hanya menunggu saja kapan itu dijemput oleh Divisi Hubungan Internasional Mabes Polri. Hanya sebatas itu saja.
So there you are, the spokesperson of Bali Police, Mr. Herivianto, saying that he's quite sure and hopeful that this deportation will take place, but then the procedures, of course, will have to be carried out. With camera person Zahir Bag, Atir Khan in Bali, Point India Today.
That was Atir Khan, India Today's Atir Khan, in conversation with the H. Vianto, the spokesperson of Bali Police, clearly telling us that the onus is on India, though the Indonesian police is not under any moral obligation to carry out an investigation.